a look at what my answers are and see if you got the same thing. If you didn't, we got problems. Because these are pretty easy. Nothing in here should be overly earth-shattering. This is like grade 8, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's like grade 7. There's the first chunk. Okay, I'm going to flip the page. 21 was R equals negative 10. 17 was A equals negative 4. 27 is G equals 6. 23 is Q equals negative 5 over 4. Number 19, T equals 8. 29 is X equals 4/3. 25 was P equals 3/5. Anyone want to see any of those? We good? Even though I said they were easy, doesn't mean we can still do. 22? 23. Oh, so I did kind of start this one. You can do it in 2 steps, or you can do it in 1. When you're dividing by a number here, we want to get, we want to isolate for Q. And so what we're doing is we're dividing by 4 here, and we've got that minus out front. We can deal with that negative sign and that 4 at once by multiplying by negative 4. What that's going to do is I'm going to multiply this fraction by a whole number. This is where you guys always mess this part up. Not you guys, but my grade 9s in general in the past have done a terrible job at multiplying fractions by whole numbers. What they do is they say, oh, well, I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4. That is not what we do. What we're doing is we're multiplying the fraction by 4. How you multiply a fraction by a whole number is you multiply by the whole number over 1. And then you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators and then you reduce. So 5 times negative 4 rather, divided by, that was a puppy. Oh, that's Winston. I think it's Winston next door? Is it Milo? We have a Milo and a Winston. I don't know who it is. Anyway, carrying on. So this is going to give me negative 20 over 16. And then negative 20 over 16 is going to reduce to negative 5 over 4 because both those are divisible by 4. Is that cool? We go to 23? Okay, 23 is really the only one in there that in the past has caused some grief. The other thing I assigned to you, if we flip the page, was books that were never written. And this one was, I actually should have saved this one for a little bit further along because this one did have some 2-step solving in here. So if you're on the south side of the class, you're better than the north side of the class, unless someone on the north side also did this page. So the break-in, who was it written by someone who did this page? Danny, you're on the wrong side, but that's okay. Jimmy DeLocke. Jimmy DeLocke, to Jimmy DeLocke means to like break it. The break-in by Jimmy DeLocke. The Origin of Man by who, Rebecca? Evolution. S-H-U-N. Cool. And then Making Soap was written by who, Eminette? Filthy Hands. What is what? It's like Filthy Hands. So Making Soap by Filthy Hands, but it's Filthy Hans. I love it. It's great. Those of you who did the work. Okay, flip the page. For those of you who were figuring out the difference between a yam and a TV announcer, hands up if you got it. Someone who I haven't spoken to already today. Really? Oh, yes. The yam is a sweet potato while the announcer is a commentator. I like it as in spelt like a tater tot. It's funny. It's good. Okay. Okay, flip the page. This is also this shouldn't be overly difficult either. We're going to carry on here, give you guys a lot of practice. But I do recognize that as things get even a little bit more difficult, that the chance exists that it's harder and harder. We're going to skip the warm-up. for those of us who perhaps have been missing math classes in the past. So, solving equations, 2 steps. So those of you who did the book ones, you've already kind of done this kind of stuff, so it's not overly difficult. What you want to make sure we're doing here is isolating the term containing the variable first. Do we remember what terms are? Yes? A term can have a variable and a coefficient with a sign out front, so there's a lot going on in a term. So in something like this, negative 5w plus 9 equals 19, the term that we're going to get by itself is which term? Yeah, we're going to isolate for this. This is going to stay where it is, and we want to get rid of everything else first. So how am I going to isolate for that term? Do what on both sides of the equation? Yeah, so we're going to subtract 9 on both sides of the equation. I have a positive 9 here, so I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. So on the left-hand side, I'll be left with negative 5w equals what? Equals 10. So we've isolated the term. Now we want to isolate the variable next. To get w by itself, what must I do? Yes, 10 meets. Because I'm multiplying by negative 5, I want to undo that. So to do that, we're going to divide by negative 5 on both sides. Very good. Leaving me with w equals what? Yes, Kellen. Love it. Likewise, let's do this next one here. This one's a little trickier because there's fractions in there, and we hate fractions apparently. So I've got 1/3 r minus 4 equals negative 8. What am I going to do first, Carolyn? I'm going to add 4 on both sides. Because I've got a negative 4 here, I'm going to get rid of this thing further away from the variable first, the other term first. So here it's going to cancel, leaving me with 1/3 r. And then I've got a negative 8 plus 4. Thank you. And then now I've got 1/3 r equals negative 4. How do I get rid of 1/3? Rebecca? Multiply it by 3 over 1. Love it. Or multiply just by 3. So I've got, if this was like 2 over 3, yeah, then I'd multiply by like 3 over 2. Yeah. So the 3 times 1/3, these guys are going to cancel out. Look at us continuing on with cancel culture. 3 times 1/3 is 1. That leaves me with 1r. I want that coefficient in front of the r to be 1. Negative 4 times 3 is? Negative 12, and we're done. Cool? Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, moving on. I've got this guy here. This is an interesting one. There are 2 ways I could solve this problem. Does anyone want to take a stab at doing this guy for us? Someone who I haven't heard from yet today, maybe. There's a whole bunch of you I rarely hear from. Are you leaning back with authority because you wanted to volunteer? No. Oh, you were just looking at the question? Okay. You just lean back with such authority, and you do that whenever I'm trying to ask you a question. Anybody? Okay, Carolyn, take it away. What's one way to do this question?
2 times x and 2 times negative.
Okay, so one option is to distribute first. So I'm going to rewrite out the question. 2x minus 2 equals 10. So I'm going to distribute that in there. And Carolyn, what am I going to get if I distribute? 2x minus 4 equals 10. And now this question looks just like the previous one. I'm going to do what? I'm going to plus 4 on both sides. Going to cancel there, leaving me with 2x equals 14. Carolyn, finish it off. Cool. Ha, it is Winston. It's not Milo. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about this? Okay. Next, number 2. There's another option here. Does anyone know what we could do differently? I'm going to rewrite out the question. Oh, x minus 2 equals 10. Does anyone know an alternative first step? 10 meet? instead of distributing this 2 into the brackets, which is just multiplication, instead of distributing, we can actually divide this 2 away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 2 on the left-hand side because I'm multiplying by 2 here. So we're going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. Here, if I multiply and divide by the same number, they're going to cancel, leaving me with an x minus 2, and I don't have to write the brackets anymore because the other algebra out front is gone. And then 10 over 2 is 5. 10, you want to finish it off?
Then 5 plus 2.
Yeah, they're going to add 2 on both sides, giving us x equals 7. Cool. Well, there's always a trade-off. There's the easier path, often has more steps to it. You can see here that we did more. But you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to distribute. We'll get rid of the brackets. Then we've got a bunch of terms, and we'll deal with it. Here, this I regularly see. There's a mistake here I regularly see. In the method, the path that Tanmeet wanted to take, ultimately she did it correctly. But the mistake that I see here is that people will say, oh, I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to divide this by 2, the thing that's in the brackets. And that's not what we do. Because we multiply objects together, we're multiplying this to the object that is the brackets, and we're dividing by 2. And so I can multiply and divide in any order. Once I divide 2 by 2, that's done. There's not multiple terms here. So then the one step leads me, it's a step or 2 shorter. But the chance for error increases if you're not real careful about how you do your arithmetic. This is the path I see more often. This is the path that students seem to be more comfortable with. This is always less work, but the chance for error increases. I don't know why students are less comfortable with this, but it just seems to be the way. This is the way. Questions about either of them, though? They both make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They have to both be valid because the arithmetic was the same in both, and we got the same final answer.
Can we try it with a different equation without the like exact?
You will have ample opportunity.
Okay.
After I do one more example. So what do I do with something like this question? Angel, sorry? Yeah, if I've got a bunch of terms, here I've got 4 terms, here I've got 2 terms. If I got a bunch of terms that I'm allowed to group, the first thing we want to do is group them. So let's do that. What do I get? Angel, do you want to do it? So it's going to equal 24. Good. I'm going to have a plus 4 here. Yeah. Cool. So this thing, what I did here was we grouped our like terms. 3x plus 4x is 7x minus 9x is negative 2x. And then I grouped the 20 and the 4 on the other side. Now I've got this. This now becomes easy to solve. Keep going, Angel. Minus 4 on both sides, so I'm going to get negative 2x equals 20. Carry on. Divided by negative 2 on both sides, so I'm going to get x equals. Love it. Comments, questions, concerns? Danny?
Can we try that one with the other method?
There's no brackets here, so there's not really anything else to do.
If there's no brackets, then there's no other method.
Yeah, no, there's just this was really the only way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to give you some practice. There are 6 questions, 2 on the bottom of this page and 4 on the next page. I'm going to give you some time to do it. Walk around, make sure we're good. Your market say giver. I feel like I want to skip ahead here. Because I feel like this is really easy. Is this really easy, guys? Like, are we cool with this? Okay. Then do these 6 for me real fast, and we'll move on. Did you do those first 6 already? See, this one down here, that's the one you can practice. Do those first 6 for me real quick. It's good. So you're done. So. Okay, so we should be done. Why, or what are we doing? Full aggressive with your explanation. Oh, so negative 5 divided by negative 5. For what? Multiply by 22. I didn't. Like, to get 1, you would have to divide by 2. Multiply it up and you divide by 2. We'll get there. We're going to do that stuff. Okay, so we're done, yes? More or less? Okay, so let's take a look at what you got. Number 1, what did we get? What'd you get? 8. Here we go, cool. Number 1, x equals 8. Number 2, yeah. A equals 7, love it. We got these, yes? We're good? Satisfied? Carolyn? Sorry, what? Sorry, which one? Sorry, Carolyn, what? Oh, 5.5. Yes, I left it as a fraction. Yes. 5.5 is great. I got it 11 over 2. Cool, yes. We're good. Sorry, I was confused because I wrote it as a fraction. Number 5, what do we get? A equals? Danny? Negative 6, love it. Going back to number 4. 4 is? Rebecca? It is. X equals negative 8. Number 6, A equals? It's not 5. Unless I made a mistake. Yes. It is 8. A equals 8. Does anyone want to see number 6? Okay. Are we saying we want to see it because we didn't do it, or we did get it? We did it, but we didn't do it properly. Gentlemen in the back corner who were messing around while I was in the hallway. Okay, let's do it. So 6a minus 10, we're grouping, right? So 6a minus 10a is? Negative 4a plus 6 equals, and then 20 minus 46 is? I heard a negative 26. So now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Negative 4a equals negative 32. I'm willing to bet that's where the mistake was. We added 6 on both sides and got negative 4a equals negative 20. Yeah, but that would have given us a plus 12 on the left-hand side. This is why it's important to show our work. And now we're going to divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. So then a equals 8. Show your work, and then mistakes can be avoided. Okay, so this is pretty easy, I think. So I'm going to say we're going to skip some stuff. I'm going to flip ahead, skip that one. We're going to skip this one. Flip ahead to this page here. We're going to do 2 lessons today, I think. It's this page here. You find it? There's only one side of this. I'm going to assign evens on this. And I want you to flip the page one more time. There is this one here. Why did Gonzo walk around carrying ice cream and a pair of sparrows? I want you to try this one too. I'm going to give you 20 minutes and we'll see where we're at. This is all homework. That's the answers. So this, I want you this page here. And then if you flip the page again, you get this one. Why did Gonzo walk around carrying ice cream and a pair of sparrows? That's what I want you to do. You got 20 minutes and then we're moving on. Work fast. Use this time well. It ultimately doesn't matter which way you choose to go, whether it's the left side or the right side. One will likely be easier in that it will probably not invoke negative numbers, but it doesn't really matter. After we moved all the terms with variables to the same side, we want to isolate all the terms not with variables on the other. So move everything else over. And then we want to solve like we've been doing. There's no real other way to say that. So we'll do a couple examples, and then I will add to your homework and we'll call it good. So something like this, 5y plus 9 equals 2y minus 3. We've got y's on both sides. We want to move them all to one side. There is an easier and a slightly more difficult way to do this. Which way do you think would make more, which side do you think would be better to move all the y's to? 10 meet. Why? But why? Why'd you pick left? You could have picked right. Why'd you pick left? Would it help if I told you were right? Like, okay. You still put up your hand and just guessed. I appreciate that level of confidence. She's right. Why are we moving things to the left, Danny?
Because they're variables.
But why to the left?
Like I would do it to the left too, because you have just more like a variable with no like theories.
No. Because you could move them to the right and it would be just as satisfactory.
Yeah.
Why is moving to the left better? Yeah, because I've got 5 y's here and I got 2 y's here. If I subtract 5 over, I'm going to have a negative value here, and now you have to deal with negatives. Oh yeah. Every question could be different. So for this one, it makes more sense to bring all of my y's over to the left-hand side. So to do that, what am I going to do with this 2y here? But how do I move it over? I subtracted. Carolyn was getting sick of me waiting to call on her. Carolyn, why am I subtracting? Yeah, 2y is positive on this side, so to bring it over, we're going to subtract by it. We're taking notes back there instead of being on our phones, yeah? So I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides. What's 5y minus 2y? So I'm going to get 3y. And in the same step, what I could do is I could bring this 9 over to the other side, because I want my y's on one, and I want all the terms without variables on the other. So this 9 here is positive, so how am I going to move it over? I'm going to subtract 9, minus 9. So here my 2y's are going to cancel. Here my 9's are going to cancel. On the left, I'm going to have 5y minus 2y, which is 3y. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to have negative 3 minus 9, which is negative 12. Thank you. Finishing this question off, what am I going to do? Divide both sides by 3, leaving me with a final answer of y equals negative 4. So the only thing I'm adding here is the variables on both sides. Cool. Let's just jump over to number 3. 3's a gooder. Which way makes more sense to move the variables here in question number 3? Moving them over to the right, because I've got 9x's here and I've got positive 15x's over here. If I subtract both sides by 9x, here they're going to cancel. What am I going to be left with here? I'm going to have a 6x, good, 15x minus 9x. And then to move all of my other terms over to the other side, what am I going to do here? I'm going to add 2. So I'm going to get 12 on the left-hand side equals 6x. Now I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide by what, Angel? 6. So we're going to get 2 equals x or x equals 2. It doesn't matter how you write it. But at the end of the day, x equals 2. Cool. Let's take a look at number 5. 5's a gooder. We like 5. Anyone want to take a guess at how we would do 5? Danny.
Start by distributing the exponent on both sides.
In this one, we have to distribute on both sides. Why do I have to distribute on both sides?
You want to get a more answer?
After we show you the next example, I'm going to ask that same question again. But Danny's right. We got to distribute on both sides. So what am I going to be left with here, Danny, after I distribute?
5x plus 6. Or do you multiply them?
You're multiplying, yeah.
Oh, then
It's 5x, 5 times x and 5 times positive 1.
And then 21 plus 7x.
Good. Now what do I do? Which way do I want to move these things around? Move them to the right. So how do I do that?
7x minus 5x.
So I'm going to take away 5x on both sides. In the same step, what am I going to do here with my other terms? Oh, we have soccer right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We have game now.
Okay, I'll finish. Yeah. You'll take a look at the video, Carolyn. You'll see what's next. What do I have to do with the other terms here? Same step. Let's just do it all together. Yeah. Can you hold it for like 10 minutes? Because unless it's an emergency, and then you can go.
Bring the 5 to the right side.
We don't want to bring the 5 to the right side because you brought all the x's to the right side. We have to bring the 21 to the other side because there'd be nothing left otherwise. So we're going to subtract 21. So what I'm going to be left with here is what? What's 5 minus 21? I heard negative 16. That's correct, whoever said that. Pretty sure it was Carolyn. No, it wasn't her? It was you? Okay. And then I have a 7x minus 5x, which is 2x, love it. Divide by 2, we're going to get x equals negative 8.
Wait, if you did it the way I said it, would that be wrong?
You'd have 0 equals 16 plus 7x, and that doesn't get you anything. So then you'd have to move the 16 back over, and then you'd have to undo everything you just did. Okay, let's go back to number 2, except we're not doing number 2. I want you to scribble it out. We're going to rewrite it with a better question. We're going to have 5 bracket x plus 2 equals 15 bracket x minus 4. It's better. Okay, so what do I do first? I could distribute first. Do I have to distribute first, Aminat? I could divide by 5 on both sides. Why would that be not a bad thing to do right now? Because 15 is divisible by 5. The first thing I could do here is divide 5 on both sides. Here my 5s are going to cancel, leaving me with x plus 2. Here, 15 divided by 5 is what? So then I'm going to get 3 bracket x minus 4. Because this one is divisible by 5, I can divide both sides by it instead of doing the distribution first. Makes my values smaller. Now I'm going to distribute to 3, so I'm going to have x plus 2 equals 3x minus 12. We're going to speed up the party here. I'm just going to tell you to subtract x on both sides, and I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So we're going to get 14 equals 2x. Let me know if I sped up and lost anybody. Who did I lose? Okay, so where did I lose you? Okay, so after the dividing, I had x plus 2 equals 3 bracket x minus 4. We're cool with that? So then I distributed it in. I got 3x minus 12 on this side. I still had x plus 2 on this side. I got 3 x's here, and I only got 1 x here. So I subtracted x on both sides to move this one over. And in that same step, it's the same thing I was doing back here. I had x plus 2 equals 3x minus 12. Subtracted x on both sides to get rid of the x here, to bring it over here. And then I had minus 12 here. So in the same step, I added 12 on both sides, leaving me with 2 plus 12 is 14, and 3x minus x, which was 2x. Then I divided both sides by 2, got 7. I'm just speeding up a little bit because we're running out of time. Cool? Questions? Okay. I am not going to do examples 4 or 6. The only snag here is that you've got to group terms first in question number 4. And in number 6, the snag is that there's just a minus sign out front here. When I've got a minus sign out front of a set of brackets, what's that mean? It means what am I going to distribute? A negative 1. So this is going to become 2s minus 10 equals negative s minus 2. And then everything else is exactly the same. What plus? Okay, well, it's a negative 1 times 2, which is negative 2. So then this continues on. I'm going to leave this here, and we're going to see how you guys do with the homework I assign. Flip the page. The question is, there's so much I could give you. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is this. North side of the class. Okay, guys. North side of the class, you are cryptically quizzing. South side of the class. What were the headlines after a midget fortune teller escaped from jail? Okay. You're a fortune teller? And, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to flip to this page here. You got lots of practice tonight. More solving equations. Oh, now you got a lot of math. I want you to do the following questions. I want you to do E, F, S, J. I want you to do H, D, R, and M. R and M. Okay, so you've got some of you have a fair bit to do. Some of you have very little to do because you were working out already. This is what is for you. This one, why do girls like guys who wear shirts with 8 buttons, is optional. You can figure it out or not. This back one here, why do girls like guys who wear shirts with 8 buttons? Maybe the gentleman, maybe you want to figure it out. Guys, it's important. It's going to be a pun. Harwin, it's going to be a pun. So there's a word, yeah.
They're always.
Okay, so that's your homework. And I will tell you right now, you're probably going to want to do your best to get this done. Because as you know, we haven't done Nerdle in a while, so we did Nerdle today. There's something else we haven't done in a while that we're going to do tomorrow. So I'm just tossing that out there. I can't confirm or deny anything, but you're going to want to get your homework done tonight. It's going to be great. Well, if you had math first, you'd have math and then English, and now then you had socials. Tomorrow's a long block?
Is that why? Is that not why? Are you like?
That's just a happy accident. So you're going to want to get this done. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll say this. Because tomorrow is... Ooh, how long is the quiz? Oh, yeah, there's definitely a quiz tomorrow. Okay, I'll shrink the quiz. I won't give you... guys. I cannot give you the... I don't want to give you the whole box of the quiz, but I do recognize, yes, I gave you a lot of homework, and some of you are complaining about English and socials. So let's say this. I will give you the first 45 minutes of the double block first half hour for sure of the double block to work on, to do some of this math stuff. That means you have to do some tonight, but you don't have to do all of it tonight. But then tomorrow I am definitely going to give you a quiz tomorrow. So we're going to get that sucker done. Okay, so give you the first half hour to work on whatever you need to work on. Take a little bit of pressure off tonight. But you still have 6 minutes left in class. So use this 6 minutes. Don't pack up unless you're done. On your market set giver. You can do it. I believe in you.